Alrighty. Hello, people. Welcome to the Jazz Guitar Hour at UIS. My name is Jose Gobo. I'm here every Wednesday around 6 o'clock to talk about jazz and to talk about guitar. So, I open it up here with a tune called Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most because spring is here. That's another good tune. Spring is here. I gotta review that. And yeah, I have a little bit of a topic in mind for today to speculate on two songs by two of my favorite Brazilian composers. One is Toninho Horta, the other one is Ginga. So I have two songs of them that I want to play and just discuss ideas like why it's really different harmonic choices, unusual harmonic choices, and beautiful. And I just wanted to play one song by each of those guys and talk to you a little bit about it. So I'm gonna start with one that I'm more familiar with, Toninho Horta. I'm gonna play the tune Beijo Partido, and I think I'm gonna try to do a little bit of an extended version. Let's see. Okay, so Beijo Partido means broken kiss, and by Toninho Horta. So you see the harmony goes to and the melody as well. I guess we could talk about that as well. Probably easier to talk about the harmony a little bit. So, but I'm gonna play the other one that I mentioned that I would play the one by Ginga, and then try to discuss both. Um, yeah, the other one. This one I learned more recently, so that's what I said. I'm not going to explain anything. It's just going to be speculations, like of why did they choose this or that chord. So this song by Ginga is called Noturno Copacabana. Copacabana is a beach in Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro, that's the way I'm pronouncing the American way. But it's Rio. And Nocturno, like nocturnes, like the Chopin's nocturnes. So here's Noturno Copacabana by Ginga. We don't have to translate words, do we? And for the future, or for now, if you're joining us at some point, feel free to bring in questions. If you have questions or if you have suggestions of topics, and you can email me or you can just say whatever you want to say in the comments here. Okay, this is an all-inclusive environment. So that was my interpretation of Ginga's Noturno Copacabana. Very dark song, right? All those chords, like even the first chord is major, but the way he plays it, and this is a little this song. Well, you can tell it needs some love here on the. I was searching a little bit for some chords, but and here goes a tip as well. Of course, it's good to present something public, to practice, right, and have it ready. However, I've seen. I mean, I hope that was not a sloppy presentation, but the other side of the like one way, it's like people over super confident and then just play whatever. That's not a good idea either. But the other side of it is to be preparing, and like, oh no, I'm gonna wait until it's perfect and then I'll play it. That to me that doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Because then you're gonna prepare it for 5 years to play one piece, and then on the day that you're gonna play the piece, I don't know, you break one string or something happens, your stomach hurts. So I would rather like I know it, I'm confident that I can play it, even though I made some mistakes, but like just the fact of that I'm presenting it in public, I think it's gonna help me develop it, hopefully. I don't know, a lot of speculation here. So I mean, I'm gonna have to play Beijo Partido again, but since I just played Noturno Copacabana, let me talk about it a little bit. I mean, a lot of it, this darkness, the sense of darkness in this song, I think lots of half diminished chords. See the second chord, the first chord, it's B, B major, and then let's try to sing the melody and just play the chords. Little, little, la, la, little, la. Little, little, little. What happens here? Start with little, little, la, la, little, down. Loom, little, loom, little, here we go. Little. Okay, so the first time that I heard this song is the album is the same name, Noturno Copacabana. I remember I had absolutely no idea where the hell he was getting those sounds from, and then I was like, well, but I was really moved by it and intrigued by it. I wanted to know, so I learned the chords. I think he plays basically those voices that I'm playing. And then after learning it, it didn't sound that crazy. For example, I could name it, like every chord has a name here. So the first one is just this sound here. It's a B chord. That's regular B major from your guitar magazines. But he plays over F sharp, the fifth, and this kind of darker sound here on the lower register. Now, another interesting thing about the song, though, it's by the way you voice the chords. The melody kind of happens. See, just that. Just there is a way to create. Sometimes we, as guitar players, have to work hard to come up with a chord melody. On this song, kind of just by voicing if you voice the chords, there is a way to voice the chords in which the chord melody kind of comes with the package. If that makes sense. That could be true for most tunes, but in this case, I'm making a big deal out of it because, and also the way the open strings can play a role, like and then I think, yeah, just those four chords is gorgeous, and that's how I wanted to. I end up learning the song. I was like, I need to know those four chords. What is that? And it is B major, and then F half diminished, and then E minor, and then C sharp half diminished. So nothing too crazy. So one thing that he plays around a lot with in this song, it's it's in the key of B, right? Sometimes that's shady. I don't want to get too much in the like. It ends on a B. It's around the key of B, and there's a lot of this thing here going from the one. Here's the home. Here's like, even though it's a kind of a weird house, it is home. B. This is extremely common progression. Like, I think it's a common like church progression to go from the 1 to the minor 4. Right? I mean 1 to the 4. It's a blues. But so if you can go to the 4, you can also go to the minor 4. You've heard this thousands of times, right? Major, and then the minor 4. So that's one thing that happens a lot in this song. I mean, the second chord, you may be wondering, like, why F half diminished? And if you see F half diminished, it's basically he's just finding another. I have no idea. I wish I knew what Ginga was thinking when he composes this type of crazy things. I don't know what he was thinking, but I can definitely tell you that the sound of F half diminished is not that far away from the sound of B major, especially if you put a sharp 11 on the B major. So basically changing the root, like not changing too much, just and then that minor, the minor 4. So he could be thinking of the bass movement here. So F sharp, we can do it up here as well, but F sharp, F. See, but now I'm making it more complicated by adding a natural 9 to the F half diminished, which would be the sharp 5 of B. So we're still in the same. What I'm trying to say, that those chords they're definitely in the same realm, the same scope. So the bass movement I was mentioning, F sharp, F natural, and finally E minor, and D and C sharp half diminished. So basically he's doing this. That's what he's doing. But he's a little hipper than that. So he's doing. And how about the C half diminished? So once you have a minor chord, of course you've heard, if you know a little bit about jazz, about music theory, you've heard of the 2 5s, right? So the E minor, after the E minor, if he played a A7, no problem at all, right? Like A7. There's even a name for that, backdoor progression, on the tune Lady Bird. Is it a tangent? I don't know. I think we're in the same subject. So the backdoor progression is when you go to the minor 4, and it's a minor 4, and then go to the 5 of that 2, so E minor to A7. But Ginga goes to C sharp half diminished, which is the same thing as A7. if you think it could like it's just an inversion basically. It's the same pitch collection. I don't like using that term too much. It makes me think of advanced harmony classes, which I don't know how did I pass, but it's the same pitch, the same notes. So yeah, he's what I'm trying to say, that all those four chords, it could be played like this, but instead Ginga does. I drop my pick. One sec. Okay, so what else there is in there? There's a lot. Every little section is ultra hip. And I learned one way to learn about harmony is by making chord melodies, right? So on this tune in particular, I use chords that I've never used before. Even this guy here, like, I mean, the melody's on the root, you know. Maybe that's why he put the bass on the 5. Could be. But it's a gorgeous chord. I can use that. And then this is a F half diminished, and the melody is on the 11th. So to really give, it's kind of on the lower side of the guitar here, on the darker lower region, and I'm playing the 1 sharp 5 minor 7 and the 11. I'm not playing the minor 3rd. Is there a problem? Nope, there's no problem. Oh yeah, this chord here for C sharp, because the melody on the, see, on both half diminished chords, the melody lands on the 11th. See, for F half diminished, since the melody is on the 11th, and the melody does, what is it? Yeah, that's what it does. But I can play the open B and open G and keep it ringing right now. So here, found another voicing that I can use in other songs. Say minor to 5 to go to B minor. Cool. Maybe I can write a paper about that. I don't know if the scholarly magazines will take it, because I got one paper denied. Can you believe that? Yes, I can. It's all right, no problem. They denied my paper because I didn't cite anybody. Fair. I like speculating, you know. Sometimes I see people being very like, oh, this chord is here because of this. I'm like, yeah, how do you know? Like, are you really that sure? So anywho, what else is in this song? So I'm trying to say that those two chords are the same person. And this is a 2/5. And then what else happens? He goes to, oh yeah, he basically goes back to this chord here. It's just a B, goes back to the 1, but with the root on the 3rd now. And then a progression, it makes me think of Someday My Prince Will Come, you know. It's the minor 3, which becomes a dominant. And then I guess the most normal resolution to that would be keep going up. That's what Someday My Prince Will Come does. Oh, and I said, if considering that that's the minor 3 in the key of B, however, it has a flat 5, a flat 6. So that's why really easy to associate that chord with just a B major. And making a bridge here, that's a chord that Toninho Horta uses a lot. I'm talking about the Ginga song, but I will talk about Toninho as well. If we have time, we have time. But what Ginga does here, instead of doing the Someday My Prince Will Come, he's hipper than that. Yeah, he resolves in D major. Why? I mean, there's a very easy, quick response to that, which is like he's played the dominant chord, which usually resolves either by perfect fourth up, so that would be normal, and it could also resolve a half step down. The triton sub, the simplest thing that with a fancy name. So there's like this triton here. It resolves pretty well here. So from E flat 7, he goes to D major. So see, now we're playing around with the key. It's in the key of B, but he's playing a D. Alright, then back to the F half diminished. And then, funny, back he's playing around with those two sounds. But changing the bass note, which is genius. So he's here. D major, then F sharp, F diminished, and then D major, dog major with the root on. So going from F sharp to D major, kind of shocking, right? Maybe a little bit far away. But if you put the bass on the third of the D major, then it's a half step up. Sounds a lot smoother. A king of this type of things is Chico Buarque. That's a guy that Ginga. I don't know if Ginga is. He's probably a little bit younger than Chico Buarque, but I remember him saying that mentioning Chico Buarque as one of his main influences, although they're not that far away. Like Ginga he had a tune recorded by Elis Regina as early as in '72, so he was already active early. So, but Chico Buarque does a lot of that, of like playing two chords that seem far removed from each other, but he plays inversions and making the bass note make the whole thing cohesive. So where we are. This is another one that the melody is right here, like. This little. It's a minor. That's the thing. I've said that we can see that the E flat chord or D sharp. We can see that as a minor chord. We can see that as a B major, for sure. But then, if we want to look at it from the perspective of the bass, like focusing on the bass note, it is basically this chord, a minor chord, with the sharp 5 or flat 6, right? And it's a normal thing to go, especially when you're on the third, thinking of the someday my principal. A minor chord become a dominant. So it's kind of like you're going in one direction, and I don't know, these guys, I think they really like ambiguity. Every chance they can go somewhere that is unexpected, they do. That's why it sounds so intriguing. A little bit of rest, and then F, the bass note thing that I mentioned, D, and then goes to F major. That's a melody that's. So okay, so basically, what is that? Yeah, those are three major chords that he lands in for a little bit. So we're here. Now, why F major? If you're in the key of B, I don't know. But I know that the bass note here was in F sharp, right? I guess it's just trying to change. You're playing a D major chord, F major. Ah, it's kind of like changing that to a D minor. I could speculate. So the same thing that he did with the. Let's see. Maybe that kind of explains, like, he was in D but over F sharp, and then he played F major, which is almost the same thing as D minor over F. Yeah, that's the bulk of it, I think. Did I answer anything? Nope. So to me, the answer for, like, oh, why of this chord or why of that chord, especially I've seen some analysis in classical music in which people are saying, like, oh, if you have this type of motion, this type of interval, it must resolve on this thing, or on that thing, which I don't think it applies to popular music at all. I could be totally wrong, but maybe I need to do some more research. But from my perspective right now, March 23rd, March 24th, 2021, I don't think it makes sense to apply it. And because in this the best explanation, that's what I was getting at, for a chord that sounds good, the explanation is it sounds good. That's it. Why is it there? Because it sounds good. Bingo. That's, you don't need any other justification. And I would love to. I will try to find some analysis. I don't know how people do. I know back in Brazil in my undergrad, I know a little bit of the school for analysis that people did in terms of harmony for popular songs. But I'm gonna see if I can find some people who analyzed it and see what explanations they came up with. I didn't do that for this time because I've seen this type of stuff in songs that I like, and that I didn't like the explanation that these people would find. So let's talk about Beijo Partido, the other one. I think it's a little bit less crazy than the Ginga song. Play it again. Maybe I can sing it so you can see the chords. Okay, and that's the final chord, A major. So yeah, in terms of key here, like I really could not care less for, like, oh, what key, It starts on E minor, basically the first chord of the tune, though, and then a couple of hypotheses. If you say that the tune is in E minor, you got it. Great, I'll be happy. I think it's okay to say that it's in minor. I think it would make a little bit more sense though, since he moves around, like it goes. If we consider that a two, 2, 5. Then he goes around some places. He goes circulates around to go to back to E minor, and then he pretends he's gonna go up a whole step, like with a minor 2, 5 that normally would resolve in F sharp minor, but he does F sharp sus. And then he goes to C sharp sus, chromatically down to B. But this whole thing here, it seems like D. So D major seems to be where it kind of lands. Like, this whole. I've thought about this, but I'm not coming up with this right now. I've thought about this harmony years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. Right now, I'm just happy just playing the sounds, like, and trying to find out different ways to play. Maybe try to understand the reason behind it could be useful. I really don't know, but that's what I'm trying to do right now. Um, so yeah, considering that E a two, then we're in the key of D major. But then he does like he postpones the resolution. Instead, he could have done just like. See, which is not that far from what he's actually doing. Gee. I could call this a deharmonization. That's something I like to do with the Coltrane's tune, Moment's Notice. He does. All these chords. To make a deharmonization, just is like. Chop off those chords in between. But with Tony Horta, so back to Tony Horta, to Beijo Partido. I believe that, yeah, this first section here, it's going around a D major chord. And it's funny because when it resolves, it doesn't like the root resolves in D, but he plays it with a sharp 5. So it's like a huge extended resolution, and when you get there, it's like the doors are closed, or half. I don't know. It's a sharp 5. Then a little bit of, but then he goes back into the suspense, the suspended thing. I need to ask. I need to interview. I interviewed Tony Horta for my doctoral paper, and it was a lot of fun. I need to interview him every day. Toninho, why did you play this chord? Maybe I will. But so here we go. E minor, a 2 and a 5. He plays sus, or it could be 7. Yeah. And then a G major. Why? See, that's it's basically I guess it would be a little bit more common to play a 2, a 5. Just move the bass, which is almost what he's doing. He's playing a G major 7, sharp 11, but it almost the same sound as A7 over G. And then he plays F7, and then we can also consider just a 2-5 to the 2. So 2, 5. But I think he plays dominant here. Yeah, he does. Instead of playing a regular minor 2-5-1, he does the 2 as a dominant. And so this chord here, before going, he writes it on his own lead sheet. He writes this. It's clearly a passing chord. He's going from B7. He's gonna land in E minor. But then he plays this, and he plays this same voice in here several times, which I think it's very interesting. We're still trying to get to E minor, aren't we? Yeah. and this is just a B7 with a bunch of extensions. But then if we want to analyze the chord by the root, then it is see, we can see a little triad on top here. There's always some little triads hidden. And who are you? G major. G major triad over D sharp, which makes is a D sharp augmented chord, right? Major 7, sharp 5, but he also on the top of the chord he has the top note is a sharp 5, but he also has a sharp 11 here on the bottom, and then the bass just go up, and then yeah, he goes to F sharp, but like a 2-5-1 that would go to the minor 2. Now we'll go to the minor 3 if you're thinking that we're in the key of D major. So G sharp. That's also not a crazy sound. Like if I'm trying to make a parallel here with songs like It Could Happen to You, you know. If you play It Could Happen to You in the key of D, this progression, you know, the progression is right here. It's not in the key of D major to play a 2-5 that would go to F sharp minor. It's normal. But then he goes to sus. This is a little bit intriguing for me. Like he goes to a sus chord, which normally would resolve. He could do the cycle of fifth forever, but he does. But after the F sharp sus, he does the 5 of F sharp sus, and a succession of sus chords. And then I think he's trying to get back to D major. Through this whole first section, he's trying to get back to D major. That's what I guess. A little delay. Now he's going to F sharp sus, and now C sharp sus. Just chromatic. But when we get to B sus, then we're clear, like we're definitely moving towards the D major. Why? Because he goes after B sus. I mean, the sus sometimes can be used as with a dominant function. Function. What is function supposed to mean? So B goes to B flat 7, and now it's clearly like the tritone sub. Now once you play B flat 7, we are already in the key of D, you know, because it's just a tritone sub to the 5 and then to the D. Whew. And then a little this thing here. It's the way I'm playing it. It could be a C major 7 sharp 11. I think it's easier to see it as a F sharp half diminished inverted. It's just basically just, and then B7 to go back to E minor. So yeah, and then the same thing, and then he does the same progression. F sharp, B sus, B flat 7, A7, D augmented, and then he does this thing here. Please don't ask me why. Let's see. It's after the okay. So I just said that I prefer to see that C chord as not as a C major sharp 11, but as an inversion of the F sharp half diminished. Now for this, I don't know. He switched to the Lydian sound, and then it's A flat minor. okay, maybe flirting. So if we're playing, there's a E minor predominant sound here. Yeah, E minor. But he's flirting with a E major sound, I guess. So this chord here, A flat major. It's basically a E major sound. So that's another thing that's very common in when you want to spice up the harmony a little bit. Not going a crazy serial Schoenberg, you know, but just a little bit. The flirting with this is common even in the song in the Great American Songbook, like songs by Cole Porter and these guys from the 30s and 40s. They already did a lot of that, of being in the key, but also using chords like in a minor key and borrowing from the major key. So that could be this why he played A flat minor. Like that's a little progression to go back to E minor. Like and then we're gonna go somewhere else. On the third time, there's a third ending that he goes somewhere else. Here, he plays, instead of E minor, he plays E major 7, sharp 9, sharp 11. Which is, if you can see my fingers, basically chord planing. Larry Gray taught me this thing. Chord planing. You just basically play the same thing, the same shape, but move it. In this case, I'm keeping the bass in E. So it's kind of just like a little surprise, like when you go, you're really hungry and you go to the restaurant and you order and they're like, no, we're closed. And you're like, really? But they were just kidding. It's like, we're closed, just kidding. And then the same progression that I already talked about, the sus. But now when we get to B sus, he's already been to did the chromatic thing to go to D major. He already did it 2 times, or maybe 3 times. No, 2 times. It would have been the third now. But instead of doing the same thing, he's like, no, I'm hipper than that. He does A flat sus, and then G flat sus, and goes to B major. Yeah. So he was tending, he was like doing this whole epic thing to get to D major, and then he gets it, and then he gets it again. I guess he's like, yeah, I already know how does it feel like to go around the block and get to D major. Now I'm gonna do the same thing and get to B major instead. And then just a little walk down from B major to the relative minor, which is A flat minor, and then straight from the thing that I just mentioned about the flirting with major and minor keys. It's so obvious here that he doesn't there's even not even a preparation from A flat minor to E minor. It's kind of they're in the same bag already, It's like if the entire world, everybody's the same family, It's like, I'm here, but you're also welcome. And then he's like a 2 and a 5, but makes that sound? The dominant diminished. Back to the 2, and then back to the 5, but then he makes this 5 a major instead. And that's where he ends the tune. So you see the music theory experts there's as far as I remember, to pinpoint where to determine the key, where the tune ends. That's something that they make a big deal out of it, which I find funny because sometimes you just play what if you did that, or or that. I just played random and changed my hands here, and anywho, but he ends in A major. So yeah, I guess that's where we can end this thing as well. with a big question mark. Sabe, hoje eu não faço fé nessa minha loucura. E digo, eu não gosto de quem me arruína em pedaços. E Deus é quem sabe de ti. E eu não mereço um beijo partido. Hoje não passa de um dia perdido no tempo. E fico longe de tudo que sei. Não se fala mais nisso, eu não sei. Eu serei pra você o que não me importa saber. Hoje não passa de um vaso quebrado no peito. E grito. Olha o beijo partido. Onde andará a rainha que a lucidez escondeu? Not the best ending ever. All right. Thank you very much. See you next time.